The Biden administration also wants to extend one of the most important arms treaties in the world, the one with Russia. It actually expires February 5th, and the White House is proposing 5 more years. Now, we're talking about the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, or New START. It limits how many deployed nuclear warheads and missiles each country can have. NBC News reporter Matt Bodner joins us now from Moscow. Matt, good to see you. So could you explain to us more about what this proposal is and whether the Kremlin is on board?
Thanks, Joe. Well, unfortunately, we still don't know very many details about the proposal itself. And it doesn't seem that Russia has actually seen anything official either. But we have heard from several Russian officials this morning, senior lawmakers, and even the Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, and they're all saying more or less the same thing. Russia's position is unchanged. They very much welcome this initiative from the White House, but they want an unconditional 5-year extension. And really, just based on the tone of this discussion during the campaign and so on, it looks as if that's probably what they will get. And so there's really no reason to think at this point that if that shows up perhaps in Moscow today, that the Kremlin is preparing to rebuff the administration on this one.
Matt, let's look at the larger picture. What can you tell us about the relationship between Presidents Biden and Putin? They're not strangers to each other. This is not their first time together on the world stage. But what is that relationship like? Well, it's not really one full of warmth. They're certainly familiar with each other. And from Putin's perspective, when he looks at Biden, he probably sees a Russia hawk, somebody who's a friend of Ukraine, and really doesn't see a lot of hope for the kind of warmth that he might have expected from the previous administration. And I think it's really interesting and important to note that the Biden administration is actually the first that I can think of in recent memory that is coming into office without any kind of platform or specific promise to try to reforge or refresh relations with Russia in any way. Instead, they seem to be approaching a more pragmatic, for lack of a better word, approach. And that can be summed up as work with Russia where you can. I think New START is a good example of that, but also confront Russia where the administration thinks that it needs to. And I think that the first sign of that we're going to see is actually coming up very soon, and that concerns the fate of the imprisoned opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, who's currently in jail right now. Yeah, Matt, let me ask you more about that. You've been following the story all week. So remind us, why did he return to Russia, and then what is next in this part of the story?
This is a question everyone's been asking themselves since he first woke up from that coma a few months ago after the alleged assassination attempt, and said straight up that he's coming back when he's healed. And it's a question everyone continued to ask last week as he flew back and was promptly arrested at the border. So right now he faces about 3.5 years in prison from various legal charges, and he's calling for mass protests this week. And so I think in his own words, he said he came back to show Putin that he is not afraid. But it has become clear in the past few days he's really back to force what might be his final confrontation with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He faces at least 3 years, possibly up to 10, we're hearing, and he's calling now on protesters to hit the streets tomorrow to rally for his freedom. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but the stakes have probably never been higher for him, at least in terms of protest actions.
Matt Bodner, we know you'll stay on it. Thanks so much for joining us from Moscow this morning.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.